Thank you for joining me for this basic tutorial on evaluating business resources. We're going to look at a few different types of resources and how you can determine which of these would be the ones that you need for your assignment. Now, first of all, there are scholarly articles as we have represented in this diagram. Scholarly articles are those published in journals and are written by scholars for scholars. They assume the reader has a working knowledge of the field. Moreover, they're really not published for the sake of casual reading, but rather they have technical language relevant to researchers in that field. They often utilize studies and research, and they always list out their references that they use. They also have an abstract and may include charts and data, and typically these are the types of articles required for assignments in graduate programs. Now next you'll notice peer-reviewed articles here. These are scholarly articles that have undergone the review process before being published in the journal. In other words, an article is submitted to a journal and then a number of recognized experts in the field review that article to determine whether or not it is worthy of publication. Not all scholarly articles have undergone this process, but all peer-reviewed articles are considered scholarly articles. So in other words, you've got peer-reviewed articles and all of these are considered scholarly articles, but again, not all scholarly articles have been peer-reviewed, have gone through this process. It is also necessary to mention that some items found in peer-reviewed journals are not peer-reviewed. Items like this would include letters to and from the editor, book reviews, and other opinion pieces that may appear in these peer-reviewed journals. So please watch one of our other tutorials which explains how to search in our databases and specify how to limit your results to just scholarly peer-reviewed articles. Now this is an example of a scholarly peer-reviewed article. There's an abstract here. It's a study. As you scroll through, you'll notice there's a methodology to the study as it reports various data through charts and graphs and things like that. But overall, the tone of this article, you can tell it's not written for the average person. It's written for someone who's in the field, that it's an expert, that's a scholar studying this particular area. And as you scroll down to the bottom of the article, you'll notice there's a reference list. That's a very important key component to a scholarly peer-reviewed article. They should always have a reference list. Now let's consider trade or professional publications. These are not scholarly in the strictest sense. They are not necessarily written with a focus on research. Their intention is typically more practical. They are also very industry specific. For instance, a scholarly article may publish a study which has been demonstrating the increase in work productivity by employees who are offered salary benefits. But a trade publication may address, for instance, the 12 strategies for being an effective supervisor. So there's really a difference in practicality versus research. And again, the practical publications are the trade or professional publications. It should be noted that some trade publications or professional publications may be acceptable as a resource for your assignment. It really just depends on the instructions and the specifications your professors have given you about your research and the nature of the assignment. So it really depends on your assignment there. Now here's an example of an article published in a trade publication. You'll notice it's in the CPA Practice Management Forum, but what you notice as you scroll through here, there's no abstract given. If you were to scroll to the bottom of this article, there's no reference page given, and overall the tone of the article is not necessarily research driven so much as it is practical and industry driven. Now then we also have popular level publications. For popular level publications, these are articles that have been published in magazines or maybe newspapers. They are intended for public consumption. For instance, a popular level publication would be USA Today or Christianity Today. Now here is an example of a popular level article. You'll notice it's published in USA Today magazine, and as you scroll through this article, even though it's about a business topic, it's not really written for necessarily business people. This is really written for the masses. It's an article that provides an opinion piece with no references. There's no abstract. It's not even really industry specific as much as it is an opinion opinion piece that's about a topic that happens to be about business. Now, there is a category of its own that I wanted to include. We have industry-specific newspapers. The biggest example of this industry-specific newspaper would be the Wall Street Journal. Now, it is a newspaper, and it truly is intended for the general public, but it's not quite a popular level source either, in the same way that USA Today is. You may have an assignment that requires the use of the Wall Street Journal because it may be an authoritative resource for certain topics in the business realm. Please remember that the Jerry Falwell Library has what you need to succeed.